Hey, what up everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you. The other night I made a pretty big blunder. Sitting here, about to watch some television tonight. Hopefully I won't make the same mistake I did as I was watching on my WWE network. I clicked before I thought, and I watched the wrong show. I sat down hoping to continue off of the Royal Rumble 1990, Hulkamania, Hulk Hogan Royal Rumble win, and I said, you know what? I know Hogan won 2 Rumbles. It'd be fun to watch the other one. So I came back, I went to the Royal Rumbles, and then I clicked on 1989. Wrong show. I did not find out till after I watched all of the undercard matches, and I was like, well, I've already got myself to the Royal Rumble. There's no way in the world I'm not going to watch this show and not finish this out and watch the whole Rumble. And this was a below average Royal Rumble, honestly, in my opinion, one of the sort of least memorable ones in my mind. Whenever I think of one of the greatest Royal Rumbles, I normally think of 1990. Thinking of all those Hall of Famers coming down to the ring, I really didn't have that feeling, and really a lot of the same names that are in 1990 are in 1989. Maybe it's just because it wasn't one of my favorite ones I used to watch as a kid because Hulk Hogan didn't get the win. But all in all, it does have one of my favorite Royal Rumble moments of all time in the Royal Rumble match. Starting off at the beginning of the show, very below subpar undercard. The opening match is the Hart Foundation and Jim Duggan tagging up against the Rougeaus and Dino Bravo in a 2 out of 3 falls tag team match. Nothing really going. I can't really remember anything that was making this feud go down. The Hart Foundation and Jim Duggan got the win here when they scored the 3rd fall in this match, when Jim Duggan took advantage of the referee not paying attention and he knocked Dino Bravo out with the 2x4. Bret Hart was able to get the roll up for the pin, and they were to go from there. Next match was Rockin' Robin going up against Judy Martin. Shorter women's match, that Survivor Series match I had to sit through when I was reviewing that show back in October. But this was one of the last women's championship matches. Shortly after this, in February of 1990, the title was deactivated until Alundra Blaze came back, or I guess came to the WWF when Vince signed her in 1994. So for 4 years, this title went, unused, basically just sitting in a vault. Rockin' Robin scored the win over Judy Martin. During this match, Sensational Sherry, she came down to the ring, and she told both of the girls that were in there that neither of them were women enough to take her on, and she was challenging the winner of this match. I don't even know where or how that match happened, unless it was just sort of house shows, because the title was sort of kicked off after that. Rockin' Robin was able to get the win. King Haku fought Harley Race. Harley Race will always be one of the guys who I've known as the king of wrestling, and I've always thought of that. I thought honestly that Harley Race lost the crown to Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I knew that King Haku was the king for a while. I do remember him being that as I was a kid, but I never knew that there was actually a King Haku versus Harley Race match, because this match was taken off of the Coliseum home video VHS. It was put on the DVD that was released later on, but I never have memories of this match, and as I watched it, it felt like it was one of the first times I was watching it. I believe this was one of Harley Race's last WWF appearances before, I guess, going off, and I don't know if in 1989 he was doing a lot of, well, I guess he would go to WCW, NWA after this, and he would manage Vader, but I don't know really when his wrestling career ended. Of course, still to this day, he still helps train at his training facility in St. Louis, but I don't know when he really got out of the ring and stopped taking bumps. King Haku is the king of wrestling here at this show. Harley Race is pissed. He wants this back. Both of these guys are sort of managed by Bobby Heenan. I don't know what happened. I don't know if Harley Race got injured and King Haku stepped up and maybe won some sort of a tournament to be the new king, and they're going at it. But Harley Race looks like he's the babyface, but he's also the heel in this match. Nothing really spectacular from here. King Haku gets the big kick on Harley Race as he's chasing him around and re-entering the ring. Haku hits a surprise sort of super kick, knocking Harley Race out for the 1-2-3. And from there, we're on to the Royal Rumble. Big story of this one is sort of like a subplot. They show all of the wrestlers going over and picking the ping pong balls out of the tumbler. Always a really great vignette to get you pumped up for the show. The only thing I ever really noticed as they keep showing guys come over and pick the balls out, there's always so many balls in there. Why is it that his guys are picking the balls out of the tumblers? There's less and less balls in there. There should be one guy walking over there, and there's only one ball left in a tumbler, and that's the one he grabs. But immediately, we see this big net twice. That is how big they're trying to play up this as being. The $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, reaches into the tumbler, and immediately he looks into his ball, and he doesn't like the number, and he's looking to make some sort of a deal where he finds Slick. Slick says that he got the best number of the batch, and $1 Million Man and Ted DiBiase walk out of frame as DiBiase is trying to find out what it's going to take to get that number from him. We do find out later on that Ted DiBiase does buy number 30 from the Slickster, because Ted DiBiase does enter the match at number 30. My only problem with this whole thing is that they tell us that he bought it from Slick. That would make you think that one of Slick's entrants came out with a low number. But never do we see one of them until we see, at that time I believe he was managing the Akeem and the Big Boss Man, who came in at, they're late, 22 and 23. So why you would want it to move down from 22 to 23 to 30 and spend your money. But then again, you're the $1 Million Man. You got all the bucks in the world. You can do what you want. Very cool opening to the Royal Rumble here. Drawing number 1 was Acts of Demolition. And then drawing number 2 was Smash. And they've always said that, basically there's no friends, everybody's foes. You're all working to be the one guy left at the end of it. There really was no, prize at the end of the tunnel. It's not like today where you win the Royal Rumble and you go on to WrestleMania. They don't say if you win like a steak dinner. They don't say if you win a cash prize. You're just supposed to leave it up to imagination about what it is that you're going to be winning by this deal. But Axe and Smash, you would think as a tag team, they would sit out and they would wait for number 3 to come down. But they just start fighting each other. They fight each other like it's WrestleMania, and they had some sort of a build-up where the tag team broke up. Axe and Smash, one of the strongest teams. I'm thinking at this time they might have been WWF Tag Team Champions. I'm not sure because it didn't play into what was going down. But, they fight for the whole 2 minutes until Andre the Giant comes down as he draws number 3 and he makes his way down. Axe and Smash turn their attention to start going over and fighting on Andre. A very, very young Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, comes down. He hasn't even adapted to the singlet that you would be well known with Mr. Perfect. He's just wearing blue, sort of just trunks. And he starts getting in the fight. He's in the Rumble for a very long time. He almost gets the 30-minute appearance. Very, very young into his WWF career. He hasn't become Intercontinental Champion. He hasn't done anything. He sort of had a promo where he portrayed himself as a heel, but in the match you see him more as a babyface fighting the heels. So kind of weird to see that. From there, you have just some random names come in until at number 7, Jake Roberts enters in to the Royal Rumble. He has big-time heat with Andre the Giant. They're fighting back and forth. Andre the Giant makes quick work of Jake the Snake Roberts, dumping him over the ropes. Jake was only in there for just over 2 minutes. From there, we just go Ron Bass, Shawn Michaels, Bushwhacker Butch, Honky Tonk Man. Sometime in this, Jake the Snake Roberts gets pissed, and he just makes his way back down to the ring. As he comes down to the ring, he's got Damien with him, and he just slides Damien into the ring like Damien was a surprise entrant into the Royal Rumble. Andre the Giant says, fuck this. He jumps over the top rope on his own, eliminating himself, heading back to the back. And, Jake the Snake Roberts takes this as some sort of a win. They would go on to have a match at WrestleMania 5. Where they would be, a big-time feud going up against each other on the show. Nothing much happens from here. Bad News Brown plays a big point in this match. After Bad News Brown comes out Randy Savage, who is the WWF champion at this point. The place pops bananas for this when he hits the ring. And Savage starts, fighting around and, being in the ring for a long time. Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, 2 members of the Four Horsemen. Well, I guess not the Four Horsemen of the WWF, but that's how most people would know them. They came down there as a tag team. They start working on Savage. From there, Hulk Hogan comes running down, and he's able to even out the score. The first thing he does is he eliminates Arn and Tully. He makes quick work of Tito Santana. He dumps Bad News Brown is fighting in the corner, and he's fighting against Randy Macho Man Savage, and basically, they're fighting each other. Hogan comes over and attempting to dump Bad News Brown at the time. He dumps out Bad News Brown at the same time he dumps out Randy Savage. I think he notices that he dumps out Savage, but Hogan's now all alone inside of the ring, and he has this moment in the sun where he's like, yeah, I dumped everybody out. From there comes out the Warlord. The Warlord makes the shortest Royal Rumble appearance of all time, where he steps into the ring for 2 seconds. He gets bounced out very, very quick, and this sets up the big moment in the sun where we're setting the pace for WrestleMania 5, where basically Savage jumps into the ring and gets up into the face of Hulk Hogan. They exchange words. Hogan's trying to say that he didn't mean to do it. Savage is trying to say, you dumped me over the top rope. I'm the champ. You're jealous of me. I got the girl, this, that, and the other. So you can see that they're setting up Miss Elizabeth. She makes her way down to the ring. She gets in there. You remember that, the Warlord had been dumped, and so you have this 2-minute span of open space. That's why there's no fighting going on in the ring, because the only legal man that's in there is Hulk Hogan himself. Miss Elizabeth is able to piece everything out and get everything down together. From there, I don't know if I want to talk about WrestleMania 5 before, during, or after. I'll just say that until the end, because from there, Hogan is in the ring by himself. He's joined in there by the Big Boss Man, and the next number would be Akeem, and so he's sort of double-teamed against the Twin Towers. They make quick work of Hogan dumping him out, adding to the Mega Powers versus Twin Towers feud that was going on Saturday night's main event. From there, we have Brutus Beefcake, who comes running. Once Hogan is eliminated, he pulls out Akeem and Boss Man and starts fighting him on the outside. They start double teaming and making work from there. Brutus Beefcake, always been a good buddy of Hulk Hogan, comes running down. He's trying to even the score. Finally, the referees get everybody figured back into the ring. They put the Twin Towers back in there. Neither one of them went over the top rope. Beefcake's back in there, and he's getting beat down on. Hogan's trying to go in there because he wants to beat these guys up. The refs have to, break it up and pull him out of there. And, he just comes off like a mega crybaby, almost like he did at WrestleMania, losing to the Ultimate Warrior, where he does the big show-off, where he cries and hands the belt over to Warrior, and he makes the big deal where, he's the ultimate babyface. He might be the champion, but I'm the guy that everybody came to see, sort of deal. From there, Akeem, there we go. From the Red Rooster, the Barbarian, Big John Studd, Hercules, Rick Martel, and Ted DiBiase sort of even out the score. DiBiase comes out to number 30 to no surprise. He fought his way into the big one. Everybody fights around until it's just Big John Studd and Ted DiBiase. DiBiase tries to, pay off and get the win. Big John Studd, he won't take the money. He's trying to come off like a big guy. Studd finally eliminates DiBiase. From there, Virgil runs in and he tries to beat up Studd. Studd beats him up. It's always been sort of questionable about why Big John Studd got the win at the Royal Rumble when he didn't really go on to do anything except being a special guest referee at WrestleMania 5. They weren't really paving the way for anything. Dave Meltzer on the Wrestling Observer, he always talks about Studd was being hyped up to have matches against Andre the Giant on house shows that was supposed to be able to headline and draw money. In my mind, it just didn't seem like it's going to go down. This, of course, was setting up for WrestleMania 5. Savage versus Hogan. Of course, the next month on Saturday night's main event, they would have the big Mega Powers versus Twin Towers match. During that match is when Savage falls out of the ring and he knocks down Miss Elizabeth. Hulk Hogan scoops up Elizabeth, taking him into the back, leaving Randy Savage to fight for himself before finally, I believe, losing the match, and then coming back to the doctor's care, trying to find out why Hogan is caring about Miss Elizabeth so much. Instead of him, they turn on each other. I've always wondered why, if Hogan was his friend and he's always denying that he wanted to have this relationship with Miss Elizabeth and steal him away from him, why he gave in to Savage, saying he would fight him instead of saying, I'm your friend, let's not do this. But, I guess you had to have the big headline at WrestleMania 5 where Hogan would win the championship back. And he does win Miss Elizabeth. Miss Elizabeth doesn't go on the show. He doesn't become like his girlfriend. But at many big shows, Miss Elizabeth would come out and be in the corner of Hulk Hogan. So it sort of like played into the fact that Hogan did steal her. A lot of people have always commented saying Hogan was one of the biggest heels of all time, that nobody understood that he was the heel until later. I forgot to talk about the Ultimate Warrior and Rick Rude posed down. Basically, Ultimate Warrior got all the fans to cheer for him. Rick Rude got, pissed off and attacked Warrior, setting up their WrestleMania 5 match as well. But fun show, wasn't the one I wanted, so more than likely I'm going to watch that Royal Rumble 1991 now. Peace out, everybody.